Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am the Reverend Susan Suhocki-Brown. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. What an amazing annual meeting we had last week. Wow, long but wonderful. I was reminded that in days gone past, a worship service would have lasted all day, so I don't feel too bad about 2.5-hour meeting. But we got a lot accomplished, and it was so great to have everyone connected and feel like they were a part of something, which you are. It's always wonderful to be a part of the worship here this morning. And I have with us worship associate Brian Bliss. Brian, will you tell us about the rest of the worship service?
Thank you, Reverend Susan. So we have a rich variety of elements in the service today, and I would like to also thank Jen Del Deo for leading the Story for All Ages, and Kirsten Hunter for the video editing. And now I'd like to send you over to Joanne. Joanne?
Hi, thanks, Brian. Good morning, everyone. So happy to be with you this morning with the start of February and the focus on beloved community. So Susan Adams and I are going to share music with you around the beloved community. Thanks. Anything else, Brian?
Well, just like to reiterate the welcome and also a reminder at the end of the service, you can join in with the fellowship. And you can use the link at the bottom of the email that was sent to you about the Sunday service. So hope everyone will enjoy it. And now for some announcements.
You know what? I forgot something. Speaking of beloved community, this morning we're going to recognize the shared ministry and all the associate programs that help to make up the ministry of this congregation. So we look forward to a presentation by each of those groups and seeing everyone and thank them for their volunteer work. Let's begin the worship.
Aging with Grace is hosting a virtual Valentine's Day party on Wednesday, February 10th. Join us. Wear red or pink, crazy or festive, and bring your own beverage. Contact Louise Hirschberg at louiseher@comcast.net or Rita Weathersby at rita.weathersby@unh.edu for the Zoom link or to get on the Aging with Grace email list. Are you new to South Church or a longtime attendee of Sunday services and want to know more? The Fellowship Associates will be hosting their Spring Journey to Membership classes at 11:15 a.m. on Sundays, March 7th, 14th, and 21st. The 90-minute virtual sessions are an opportunity to explore and share individual spiritual journeys and learn more about South Church and Unitarian Universalism. There will be one opportunity to gather at church for a tour of the building and grounds. For more information, contact the Fellowship Associates at fellowship@southchurch-uu.org. During the month of January, we asked you to nominate your favorite organizations for our shared plate. We have now compiled all of the nominated organizations and are ready to vote. Each member has 5 total votes on one ballot. Any ballot with more than 5 votes will not be counted. Complete instructions are on the ballot, which can be found in your Sunday morning email and on the South Church website.
Hi, I'm Laura Monfil, convener with your shared ministry team. In addition to wanting you to know who we are, we'd also like to tell you about what we've been up to and what we are imagining for the future of our work. But first, please let me introduce our associates of the shared ministry team. Marty Waldron, who acts as liaison to the Social Justice Associates. Martha Netsch, who could not be with us today, but is definitely still part of the team and has been liaison to the Fellowship Associates along with Martha Cunningham. And Martha Cunningham is also currently liaisoning to the Pastoral Associates. Carol Pivor liaisons to the Learning Associates. And we're recently welcoming Brenda Bladen back to help complete the year with liaisoning to the worship associates. And now each one of them will speak more to the work of each of those programs.
Hi, I'm Carol Pivor. I have the privilege of being the liaison to the Learning Associates, our newest associate program. This formidable group who has passionately taken on the task of developing this program includes Rebecca Dawson, web convener, Lauren Katz, previous convener, Brad Greeley, Brian Murphy, and Alexandra Lockwood, along with the support and consultation by our Director of Lifespan Ministry, Kirsten Hunter. The Learning Associates' mission is to help highlight and support the spiritual growth and learning at South Church. This past year, the LAs held a focus group on reflective questions that could develop into a reflective practice regarding spiritual growth and faith formation in our community. This reflective practice can help us wonder how we might more intentionally develop our spiritual growth and do better in our practice of UU principles, right relations, and in how we show up in the world and act on our values. We thank the Learning Associates for their passionate work in developing this, our 5th associate program.
Good morning. My name is Martha Cunningham. I'm honored to be the shared ministry liaison to both the Pastoral Associates and the Fellowship Associates. Let's start with the FAs. When I think of FAs, I think of welcoming, hospitality, and community. As things went virtual, their passion to engage us transformed into social hours to bookend the weekend, outdoor circle suppers while the weather lasted, journey to membership classes, this month's love letters. The list goes on. Your FA lineup, beginning at the top and going left to right, includes Rebecca Blake, Kirsten Hunter, Alan Amman, Carol Cameron Sears, convener, Jim Monroe, Emily Lucen-Hop-Bolton, Kathy DiPentina, Kevin Leahy, Angela Matthews, Jenny Cease, Tom Barry, and not pictured Pam Martirano. Now to the Pastoral Associates. During times of celebration and tribulation, they are there for us. They are the glue binding us together at those moments when community is everything. Pre-COVID, there were hospital, home visits, and memorial celebrations. Now there are notes, calls, meals, virtual visits, compassionate care bags, and so much more. They remind us that we are not alone, that we're loved and cared for. Let me introduce them, beginning top row, left to right. Co-conveners, Linda Keefe and Kim Rivest, Donna Melio, Barbara Grazier, Donna Waldron, yours truly, and Michael Alapina. Not pictured are the wider network of care, over 200 South Church individuals who support this incredible effort. For each of us who have been touched by the many acts of kindness provided by the Pastoral and Fellowship Associates, our lives are richer and more connected. We're so very grateful.
I'm Marty Waldron, Shared Ministry Liaison to Social Justice Associates, and it's my pleasure to thank them for the work that they do. Thank you, Joanne Foster, Robin Schnell, Linda Benham, Dave Thompson, Janet Pulaski, Connie Freermuth, Anna Howard, and Mary Bannock. Thank you for providing opportunities to nurture spiritual growth, to celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and the inspiration to act on our faith in the larger community as we engage in social justice issues. Thank you for your advocacy on such important community issues as climate and economic justice, homelessness, hunger, LGBTQ rights, voting rights, and immigration justice. Thank you for joining, nurturing, and supporting partnerships which make our communities stronger, healthier, and more just, such as Shared Plate organizations, Seacoast Family Promise, Seacoast Family Food Pantry, and the Soup Kitchen. Thank you for all that you do.
Good morning. My name is Brenda Bladen, and I am the Shared Ministry Liaison to the Worship Associates. This talented team is made up of Myra Aronson-Eves, Lori Bilby, Brian Bliss, Hillary Clark, Brett Newberry, Bob Vaccaro, and missing from this picture is Arthur Eves. On behalf of South Church, let me say thank you. The work that you volunteer to do in a normal year is essential to South Church, and it would not be what it is without you. This year, we owe you an even greater debt of gratitude for the grace with which you were able to pivot to online and keep us feeling like a community. Thank you for sharing your time and your skills, your stories and your wisdom. Thank you for all of your organizing and arranging, your leadership and your inspiration. Thank you for bringing your authentic selves to the South Church community every week. You inspire us, and for that and so much more, we are grateful.
So, as you've just heard, the associate programs make an important contribution to our community and cover a wide breadth of programming and support. In fact, the mission of our shared ministry is to share in the ministry of South Church by supporting the associate programs. We are committed to maintaining the integrity, individuality, and spiritual growth of each program and its members through recruitment of and matching people's passions to embrace the work. Our imagination for our future and that of our programs for our community is to live even more fully into our own individual and community spiritual development. We are just beginning our conversations about what that might look like, and we'll keep you posted as this evolves. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn more or get involved, please join us for coffee hour on Sunday on February 21st at 11:15. Thank you.
You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome in this place.
As you may know, our theme this month is Beloved Community, a term coined by theologian Josiah Royce in the early 20th century and popularized by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. According to the King Center, a nonprofit established by Coretta Scott King, Dr. King saw the beloved community as a society infused with an all-inclusive spirit of unity, a society without racism and discrimination, where all people share in the wealth of the earth and international conflicts are settled with nonviolence and reconciliation. If this sounds like a tall order, the King Center says that Dr. King saw that the beloved community is a realistic, achievable goal that could be attained by a critical mass of people committed to nonviolence. And King believed in nonviolence not only as a set of moral principles, but also as the only strategy that could succeed in achieving social, political, and economic justice. And when he used the term beloved community, King wasn't talking about the peaceable kingdom of snuggling lions and lambs. Instead, the beloved community actively resists injustice The King Center says it's an approach that's both nonviolent and also aggressive, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. But of course, although practitioners of nonviolence pursue social transformation aggressively, they also choose love instead of hate. And not just any kind of love, but the higher love overflowing in the human heart, known as agape, which King described as purely spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative. In the United States today, the triple evils King identified of racism, poverty, and militarism continue to wreak havoc on our society more than 50 years after his death. But the King Center says practitioners of nonviolence are committed to achieving the beloved community because they believe that the universe itself is on the side of justice. So they're able to have a deep faith that justice will eventually win. May it be so. As we light our chalice today, please feel free to light a chalice or candle in your own space. As we do so, here is what Dr. King had to say about desegregating Montgomery's buses. The end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opponents into friends, that will transform the deep gloom of the old age into the exuberant gladness of the new age. It is this love which will bring about miracles in the hearts of men. Feel free to join in as we recite the mission statement displayed on your screen. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you've had a great week. Our theme at church this month is Beloved Community, and February is Black History Month. And I have some books that I'd like to share with you that were created by Black authors and illustrators. So I have a book this morning to share with you that is written by a Black author and illustrated by a Black man. And I have several other stories that I'd like to share. So on Wednesdays for the rest of this month, we'll do bedtime stories on Zoom at 7 o'clock. So you can get in your PJs and join us. We'll do a little stretching to relax our bodies, and then we'll hear a story, and then we'll say goodnight. So you can find the details for those events on the RE website. For now, the book I have today is called Each Kindness. It's written by Jacqueline Woodson and illustrated by E.B. Lewis. That winter, snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened and the principal came in. She had a girl with her, and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello." We all stared at her. Her coat was open and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them had broken. Our teacher, Miss Albert, said, "Say good morning to our new student." But most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me. That's where our teacher put Maya. And on that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled, but I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little farther away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and stared out at the snow. And every day after that, when Maya came into the classroom, I looked away and didn't smile back. My best friends that year were Kendra and Sophie. At lunchtime, we walked around the schoolyard, our fingers laced together, whispering secrets into each other's ears. One day, while we were near the slide, Maya came over to us. She held open her hand to show us the shiny jacks and tiny red ball she'd gotten for her birthday. "It's a high bouncer," she said, but none of us wanted to play, so Maya played a game against herself. That afternoon, when we got back into the classroom, Maya whispered to me, "Bet you can't guess who the new Jacks champion of the world is." Behind me, Andrew whispered, "Chloe's got a new friend, Chloe's got a new friend." "She's not my friend," I whispered back. The weeks passed. Every day we whispered about Maya, laughing at her clothes, her shoes, the strange food she brought for lunch. Some days Maya held out her hand to show us what she had brought to school: a deck of cards, pick-up sticks, a small tattered doll. Whenever she asked us to play, we said no. The days grew warmer and warmer. The pond thawed. Grass began growing where snow had once been. One day, Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But the shoes and the dress looked like they'd belonged to another girl before Maya. "I have a new name for her," Kendra whispered. "Never knew. Everything she has came from a secondhand store." We all laughed. Maya stood by the fence. She was holding a jump rope, but did not come over to ask us if we wanted to play. After a while, she folded it double, rolled the ends around each hand, and started jumping. She jumped around the whole schoolyard without stopping. She didn't look up once, just jumped, jumped, jumped. The next day, Maya's seat was empty. In class that morning, we were talking about kindness. Miss Albert had brought a big bowl into class and filled it with water. We all gathered around her desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. "This is what kindness does," Miss Albert said. "Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world." Then Miss Albert let us each drop the stone in as we told her what kinds of things we had done. Joseph had held the door for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Andrew had done something. "I carried teacher's books up the stairs," he said, and Miss Albert said it was true. I stood there holding Miss Albert's rock in my hand, silent. "Even small things count," Miss Albert said gently, but I couldn't think of anything and passed the stone on. Maya didn't come to school the next day or the day after that. Each morning I walked to school slowly, hoping this would be the day Maya returned and she'd look at me and smile. I promised myself this would be the day I smiled back. "Each kindness," Miss Albert had said, "makes the whole world a little bit better." But Maya's seat remained empty. And one day, Miss Albert announced to the class that Maya wouldn't be coming back. Her family had to move away, Miss Albert said. Then she told us to take out our notebooks, and it was time for spelling. That afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat was filled with all the things I wished I would have said to Maya. each kindness I had never shown. I threw small stones into it over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away, out and away. Like each kindness, done and not done. Like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples, and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. It can be really difficult to realize we've made a big mistake, especially if it means someone's been hurt. But we always have the opportunity to learn from our mistakes, and what we do after we make the mistakes is really important. That's part of what beloved community is all about, learning and growing and being the best that we can be. I miss you and I love you, and I hope to see you at a story time soon.
It's now time for the offering, an opportunity to support the programs of our church and to live our shared values in the larger community. As you know, February is Black History Month, and this month we're sharing our plate with the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire.
Hello, South Church family. My name is Valerie, for those of you who don't know me, and I get to be honored and privileged to lead Black Heritage Trail tours and am part of the family for the last 3 years. And I am so happy and want to thank each and every one of you for choosing the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire to be the shared plate recipient in the month of February. With these with this financial support, we will be able to continue to bring high quality, informative programs that give us a truer picture of New Hampshire's rich history that includes stories of the African American life in New Hampshire. These stories challenge the preconceived notions and inspire us to build upon her story of African American resilience, versatility, and courage in order to foster a more inclusive state and country. So on behalf of the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire, thank you so much. I miss all of you and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
You can contribute by following the instructions on your screen. You can also donate by going to our website, southchurch-uu.org.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share, with love and care, we give thanks for this precious day.
Let's take a couple moments for some prayerful reflections. This morning, before we enter the time of prayer, I'd like us to hold in our hearts and in our minds Anne Grinnell, who died this past week and had been a longtime member of the congregation. And most of you would know Anne for her swim coach and swim teaching, her work with children whom she absolutely adored, and was an active volunteer at Ground Zero and with the Red Cross, traveling all over the world to give so generously. And she was very active in politics in Kittery. So we mourn her loss, and we send our support to her partner, Marge Pelletier. May she rest in the power that be. It's so sad to think of the losses that people have sustained during this time. Loss of health, loss of connection, loss of family and friends, loss of the things that we do each and every day. Sometimes it can feel very overwhelming and very sad, and yet sometimes I hear from people about the blessing that this has brought them, the opportunity to walk outside during the middle of the day and not have to cram a walk in first thing in the morning or last thing at night. I hear about people who are connecting and taking time to write letters to those far away. Those who are using Zoom not just for meetings, but for dance parties and for happy hours and for connecting with loved ones. I hear about people who are renewing interest in writing or artwork or crafting or journaling. And though it is a very challenging and just tough time, we have done amazingly well. This marks the first year anniversary of entering into COVID in the United States, of knowing that we had to stay safe, we had to stay distant, and we had to protect ourselves and our loved ones. And yet we've managed to do that by being together, by loving one another, by caring, by reaching out, by staying connected. You are not alone. We miss you. We think of you. Everything that we do, we try to think of a way to make it more meaningful for you. And so I'm going to invite you to take some moments to write your prayer concerns in the chat box below. You may express any needs that you have. You may express names or thoughts. Let us send our love out to Dave Drucker as he is ill, and to his daughter who is tending and caring for him, and all other people that you know. Enter their names and know that we hold these in our hearts until we are together again. Blessings upon us all. May it be so. beloved community isn't what I once thought it was, and it isn't at all some idyllic place where everything and everyone fits perfectly. In fact, it is far more mismatched and jagged and far more interesting than neat and orderly. I learned about what a beloved community is like while growing up in a world of mismatchedness. And let me tell you, once upon a time there was a minister. Well, this was before she was a minister, but when she was just a kid. And this is a story about her mismatchedness and her discovery about beloved community. She had a sister who oftentimes, without telling her, borrowed socks, mittens, gloves, and etc. And now this sister was not really careful with things, and sometimes, too often, it seemed, the pair that once was a perfectly good and fine and matched pair became a onesie. Not like the cute little onesies that newborn babies wear, but a onesie like a onesie red mitten and a onesie purple glove, or a onesie blue and white striped sock. Now the sister didn't usually tell her that one part of the pair had gone missing by being left at the schoolyard or in the back of a family car that had left with the driver hours ago, or by being used to dust under the bed or lost in the back of the closet. You know all those lost places and the problem of the onesies, right? No, this sister did not tell her sister about the lost part. And running out to get to school or to play or hang around with Grampy Fille, she would find a missing whatever. So this minister, before she became minister, learned that it was okay and sometimes could be interesting and fashionable to mix and match differences. So one red mitten would become a stunning set when matched with a blue one, or one striped sock could become a very fine new fad when matched with a blue flowered one. But then as life marched on, the need to match things, to make things orderly, seemed to become important, resulting in unnecessary tension because this minister figures not matching things might be a way to complete and bring lots of unknown mismatchedness together, creating a beloved community that allowed irregularities, allowed imperfections to shine more wholly. This sister, who challenged this minister more than any other person could, allowed me to discover that it is the various and sundry bits and parts of people that are needed to create a beloved community. A beloved community is a place where lost or incompleteness is valued. A beloved community is where disagreements and disappointments can interrupt the sameness, and after talking with and expressing the frustrations and upsets, can make two or more people come together to imagine something else. A beloved community allows us to look around and see who is missing, who is not represented, who is left out, who is not noticed. And as I grew out of the need to have this homogeneity, I began to notice that if I was in an environment where everything was the same, similar, and alike, well, it was very uninspiring. And how stale my thinking would get and how rigid my perspectives and my biases would become. Now, a beloved community requires a willingness to forego that everyone thinks like me, acts like me, or that they even like me. And that if I want to develop and build a beloved community, I need to nurture a trust that difference is good and positive, and that diversity of voice, experience, and ideas will enrich my way of being. In the Bible book of Genesis, chapter 11, 1-9, there is the story, the Tower of Babel. The story begins by telling that the earth had one language and that the people came together to build a tower that would reach into the heavens to show the God how powerful and united as one culture, as with one language, these people were. And after the tower was built, rather than getting the praise that the builders thought they deserved, the God decided to scatter them all over the face of the earth and to confuse and confound their language so that they would not easily understand each other. Now, you may be wondering how that connects to a beloved community, for you might be saying, well, wasn't that a beloved community? I mean, they were all together, they were building a city, they were speaking one language, they had a common culture. But I say to you, it was not a beloved community. Instead, it was a community full of puffed up self-importance. It was a community that thought only of building an edifice that reached with pride and arrogance into the heavens. It was a community that didn't have diversity and didn't have to listen carefully to interpret words and cultures, didn't have to get to know one another. And after the tearing down of the Tower of Babel and the scattering of the people, well, diversity flourished. And recognizing differences in culture and language and humans occurred. And then beyond a community of sameness, a need to reach out to others who are different became the way of life. And it helped to bring together mismatched people and places and culture. Oh, to be sure, it led to conflicts, but it required that everyone stay at the table to talk about those differences, to learn new ways of hearing, to seek unity, not as a vanilla unity with everyone get along kind of attitude, but a deeply grounded unity. And this unity is only possible when there is increased awareness that the universe doesn't exist solely for our delight and benefit. And unity only is possible when there is recognition of another's perspectives, only when there is dialogue and apology leading to reconciliation and a new awareness, sometimes through reparation. Oh, how I do wish my sister were still around so we could talk about how she hurt me when she took my stuff without asking, or how she treated it with little regard. And it would be nice if I could find that missing chain for the necklace that Grampy Faye got me. It must be hidden in some way back. But in the meantime, I accept that her actions led me to discover that a beloved community is not a place built in replica of my image, but a community built by piecing together bits and pieces and celebrating the mismatchedness of life. And as I continue to develop and explore what it means to become a beloved community, I find that the UUA's 8th Principle project and process can offer me guidance. The 8th principle is a creative way of looking at building a beloved community by coming together in covenant. And I quote, "We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions." As I continue to learn more about myself and the vision of a beloved community, I am continually reminded that it is something to work towards with others who are willing to journey with me as I open myself to new experiences, even the painful experiences of confronting my own shortcomings and my lack of awareness afforded me by my privilege, being a white woman. But more importantly, it is a willingness to trust others enough to stay engaged, even in difficult conversations. Henry Nouwen reminded me in this quote, "Community is first of all a quality of the heart. It grows from the spiritual knowledge that we live not for ourselves but for each other. Community is the fruit of our capacity to make the interest of others more important than our own." I just need to think of those words and remember how my sister delighted in wearing her big sister's things, and that she didn't intend to leave me with the mismatched objects. And I need to remember that she had a whole lot of living that she crammed into her too short life, and that her enthusiasm and other way of looking at life helped me to see beyond my own particular perspective. If I can become part of a beloved community, and if this can move me into becoming a part of a holy, lovely, committed group, I will have learned a lot, and we can build this beloved community by journeying together. May it be so.
We would be one as now we join in singing a hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice, strive to make us free.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again.
And let us leave here with these words from our colleague, Reverend Gretchen Haley. Let us leave here with these insightful words in our mind. She says, "I am convinced we can transform our understanding of what is required of us, detach it from the grip of individualism and the idealizing of a bunch of individual paths and commitments of those who happen to hang out together, and the fear of powerful religious institutions, because it will be power used for the vision of the good. And the key to such a transformation, and you might call it our salvation, lies in beloved community. May we go forth with the vision of a beloved community, united together in our mismatchedness. Amen."